Well, we certainly welcome Tammy, and we're glad she's here. Well, with Tammy in the position of our studio garden manager, you may be wondering what happened to Laura Payne, who has been our studio garden manager since 2001. Well, Laura is still around, and Laura is here to tell us about her new position. Hey, Laura.
Hey, Steve. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good
well,
to be
Laura,
here.
your new position, you will be working with Oklahoma Gardening, and
Right.
what exactly are you going to be doing these days?
Well, what I've done is taken over the position as volunteer coordinator. And so I work with our ambassador program, which we have about 45 ambassadors right now, and they are our big resource for everything we do out here at the garden.
Okay.
And since we are expanding the gardens, we are going to be taking on new class again next year. And with that expansion, we are also getting an entrance off of the highway with this new road construction that's going on up there on 51. And with that will be a lot of funding opportunities for the public, the community, to come in and help us build our road from 51 down to the gardens.
Outstanding. So you're recruiting new volunteers and setting up the training for our volunteer program.
Right.
And
The
you'll also be
training.
doing a few other things for Oklahoma Gardening.
Right. I am the Field Resources Coordinator for Oklahoma Gardening. And in that capacity, I go out and I coordinate a lot of our out-of-town shoots and any other kind of resources and materials we need for the show.
Okay. Well, congratulations, Laura, on
Thank
your
you.
new position. Glad to have you on board in this capacity.
Thanks.
Well, I certainly appreciate Laura and the work that she's done for Oklahoma Gardening through the years. I'd also like to thank Kevin Gregg, our director and videographer, Stephanie Larimore, our extension administrative assistant, the Department of Horticulture, David Hillock, our consumer horticulturist, our wonderful group of ambassadors, and all of the horticulture students that have worked for Oklahoma Gardening during the years I have been host of the program. I'd also like to thank my wife, Ruth, for her wonderful support through the years, and also all the guests that we've had on Oklahoma Gardening the last 7 seasons. Thank you all for making this such a wonderful position to be in. Well, if you're wondering what I'm going to be doing now that I'm stepping down as host of the program, I have begun my own specialty nursery. It's called Bustani Plant Farm. And if you want, you can check out my website at www.bustaniplantfarm.com and see all the things that I'm going to be doing if you want to keep up with me. But the nursery is a specialty plant nursery. We will be offering unique plants that are heat tolerant, really good for planting in Oklahoma and the South, and a lot of really unique plants. And I've got just a few right here. This is a woody species of morning glory, or Ipomoea. This comes from Kenya. This is a plant that we are evaluating out at the nursery. It's Ipomoea jaggerii, large dark pink flowers you can see here, narrow willow-like leaves, and makes a woody stem. Beautiful tropical plant for gardens in containers. And right here is a native plant. This is a butterfly pea. Native plants are, of course, one of the items that I'll be specializing in at my new nursery. This is a spurred butterfly pea, very popular in European gardens, but not all that present in a lot of Oklahoma gardens yet. It is one of our native hardy perennial vines. And then just a lot of unique plants like the variegated lamb's ears here, tough as the other lamb's ears, but this beautiful variegation in the foliage. Just a sample of some of the plants that I'll be carrying at my new nursery in my post-Oklahoma gardening career. Well, I've got one other person I'd like to introduce to you today. Well, taking over as the 10th host of Oklahoma Gardening in its 32 years is Kim Rebeck. Hey Kim, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve. It's a pleasure to be here.
Glad to have you here. Kim, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, sure. I recently moved here from Michigan, where I worked with the Master Gardener program at Michigan State University.
Okay.
My background, I studied horticulture at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, and I received my master's degree in entomology from Purdue University.
Okay, wonderful. What areas of gardening are you the most interested in?
Well, I really enjoy all aspects of gardening, but I have a particular passion for growing edibles, so I do a lot of vegetable gardening and small fruits. And I also enjoy flowering trees and shrubs.
Okay, wonderful. Well, with that, I just would like to hand to you the ceremonial Oklahoma Gardening Host Trowel, and I look forward to watching you as the new host of Oklahoma Gardening.
Thank you, Steve. I'm very excited to be a part of Oklahoma Gardening, but that's all the time we have this week. Be sure to tune in next week for my first episode of Oklahoma Gardening.
We have looked everywhere actually for the best host for Oklahoma Gardening, and finally found that the one that we feel is the most qualified is really Steve Owens, who's our studio garden manager. And so Steve, I want to welcome you to Oklahoma Gardening.
Well, thank you very much.
As the new host.
Hello, welcome to this week's edition of Oklahoma Gardening. I'm your host, Steve Owens. On today's show, we begin our series of gardening in southwestern Oklahoma. In the last 4 years, when we've brought you gardens from the 4 corners of Oklahoma, we've always featured some of the natural areas and some of the native plants from these regions, up and swept away by giant pterodactyls or pteranodons. We don't have any of those mean, meat-eating dinosaurs lurking around our garden. I highly recommend a trip here to Bouchard Gardens. It's on Vancouver Island, near Victoria, just a short ferry trip over from Vancouver, Canada. You know, I got this last spring, and I really like this brand, so what do you think about it?
The brand is okay. I love that it's oil-free. I love that it has the UVA and the UVB, but if it was last year's, throw it out.
Okay.
It's not any good.
Thanks, Steve Owens from Oklahoma Gardening Television. Welcome to the Deep South.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for having me, and I'm truly enjoying my time here in beautiful Mississippi.
Well, I'm glad that you're here.
Make sure you read the label to see if poison ivy is labeled on the label. That doesn't make sense. And, can you tell me about maybe this one right up here?
That is a pagoda.
Japanese pagoda?
No. Yeah, pagoda tree.
Pagoda tree?
Yeah.
Off of your head and your face. If there are any little breathing hose, you can just put a piece of tape over those.
Warm up those fingers.
Panhandle. That's where we'll be visiting with some viburnum, and they've done quite a few things to their gardens lately. Hello and welcome to Oklahoma Gardening. Today we're coming to you live from, not live, we're not live.
And Steve Owens for Oklahoma Gardening, aired by Oklahoma Educational Television.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and be sure and come back next week to see what we have in store for you. For Oklahoma Gardening, I'm your host, Steve Owens.